Probably wouldn't be bad for you to drink it that much, but it's kind of strong. It's stronger than pot. But that's actually good for you. I mean, there's a little sugar in it. I think there's 12 grams of sugar in it. But some of that might be fermented. And it tastes good. There's a sheriff. But if you don't have a lot of money, none of that, you can't afford any of it. If you don't have a lot of, even Pepsi, Pepsi and Pop, those have gone real high price for the brand names. It's not worth it to me, especially if it's got all that sugar in it. So Pepsi may well have tried I think it was Pepsi that put that one product out, green. So they tried. They should keep trying though. That's what I would tell them is try to put something out that's healthy and maybe try to make the ones you're putting out that people are buying. Don't change the flavor of it, but try to make it healthier. Take the aspartame out of the diet. Splenda out of the diet. I mean, that's not diet, that's poison. It's just as bad as the stuff with the sugar in it. And not only that, I heard that it makes you crave sugar anyways. You're not getting sugar, but it makes you crave it. So you're going to drink that, and then you're going to go eat a pie or something. You're going to say, well, I had a sugarless drink, I'm going to make up for that a little bit and have a pie or a bunch of donuts. Because you're going to have an urge for it. I hope that's not the case with stevia. Stevia, there's monk fruit, those are safe, and then there's xylitol. Xylitol is safe, but it can, if you drink too much of it or eat too much of it, it can affect your stomach a little bit, but it's not a poison or toxic or anything, but it could give you a bit of an upset stomach. But xylitol is good for your teeth. It's a sugar alcohol. It actually tastes like sugar, xylitol does, and it looks like it. But it's actually good for your teeth. I've done studies on it, and they said that it's good for your teeth. I don't know if the dentists will admit that, but there are some dentists that will tell you that. And then there's other ones that kind of ignore it, I suppose. But there is xylitol toothpastes. There are toothpastes with xylitol in them. And then there's xylitol dental candies, and they actually taste sweet. They're actually candies, but they're not bad for you. But I wouldn't recommend eating a lot of it. You eat it after you brush your teeth, or you eat it after a meal, and you just have one or two of them. And they are expensive. Xylitol is kind of expensive, especially the candies. So you wouldn't sit and eat a bunch of them, you'd be wasting it. And then there's monk fruit. Monk fruit I haven't used so much, but I guess that's a pretty safe one. It might be expensive. And then there's stevia. And then there's erythritol, and I don't know about that. That's another sugar alcohol. I don't think it's as bad as xylitol is not as bad as stuff that they're putting in our diet pops and stuff, but I don't know as much about it. And some of them they mix. They mix 3 different kinds or 2 different kinds together. We're coming to Bloomer. Chippewa Falls is 21. But all those new substitutes for sugars, you should use them sparingly, I guess. Another good one is coconut sugar. Coconut sugar may well be the safest one of all of them. I don't know if coconut sugar is quite as sweet as sugar though, but I've used it to replace sugar in pie, and it seemed like it was okay. But if you're going to make a pie, what you could do is you could add, let's say you take a cup, or let's say the recipe asks for a cup of sugar. You could do 1/3 of a cup of coconut sugar. You could use 1/3 of a cup of stevia, maybe, and then there's another one, allulose. Allulose is pretty safe. You could use 1/3 of a cup of allulose. And that way you're not taking too much of any one thing. Or you could use 1/2 of a cup of coconut sugar and maybe split the other 2 into 1/4 and 1/4. I mean, that would, maybe not everyone has 1/3 cup, measuring cup. But use smaller quantities of allulose, because I don't think it's poison or anything, but you don't want to use too much of allulose or too much stevia, or not stevia. You want to use too much allulose, you don't want to use too much, I can't think of it. I can't think of it, I'm having a brain fart. You don't want to use too much of one thing. I can't think of the name of the thing I was going to say. The coconut sugar you could use the bigger amount of because it's natural. It strikes me as being something you can eat as much more of it as you want. Stevia is pretty safe too, but stevia is more expensive, I think. Allulose is kind of questionable. Xylitol is the one I was thinking of, and I couldn't. You can use a little bit of xylitol in it, but you don't want to use too much xylitol. If you have it. I mean, some people might just buy that for their dental thing, the xylitol, and just use it for that only. That's kind of what I do. But I put coconut sugar in, and that's kind of the mainstay. I don't mind using more of that, but you probably don't want to use all one replacement, and then you probably don't really want to add all of these artificial sugars. You want to, unless you're a diabetic or something. I'm not diabetic, so I don't replace everything with these fake sugars. You want to put some sugar in there. We probably need, maybe, you don't want to completely eliminate. It might not be a very good recipe to completely take the sugar out. So you would maybe have a 1/4 of a cup of real sugar that's organic, 1/2 a cup coconut sugar, and then allulose. You could put the balance allulose, or you could put part allulose and part stevia or something like that. But some of them are more expensive, so you got to consider that too. And you'd use less of the expensive stuff. I think stevia, you can use a little more of it. It won't hurt your stomach, maybe. And everybody has to kind of figure this out for their own selves too. Some people might not work with. But erythritol and allulose, I think you should be